So there's this guy, he comes around, he grew his beard, but it doesn't make him appear more wise. He still looks like a pig to me. Because I can recognize with the nose. I do recognize with the nose. So, how is it that I'm so confident right now? I feel like I can do anything. I feel like I'm invincible.
The fish and the snake. This is the culmination of our discourse here in Luke 11 and in Matthew 6. And this is the verse that everybody has noticed. And the unbelievably tight scholarly responses that you get from the zealots is, nah.
He's got the family name Anderson. Anderson is a family name that comes from a family of preachers that are very wicked. I remember that Brian Denlinger was making a lot of videos about someone called Steven Anderson or something. Just a quick search.
I must say, Jonathan, this is kind of comical. I mean, the way you always love judging the characteristics and comparing their facial features to animals, and then coming to your premature conclusions on just about everything. Like when I had first introduced a video of Israel Anderson's to you a while back, the first thing you did was tell everybody that this man couldn't be trusted because he looked like a pig.
But it doesn't make him appear more wise. He still looks like a pig to me.
And now you're going to try to prove out your case that he's evil, but this time it's because of his last name being Anderson.
So Anderson, the same family name, because he's from the same tree, the same family tree, and from the same root that needs to be plucked out.
Is that correct, Jonathan? I mean, so according to you, you claim that the name Anderson is a Catholic name and that it's satanic.
Brian Denlinger versus Steven Anderson, Steven Anderson Catholic Connection, Steven Anderson Catholic Connection, Catholic Connection.
But it's not only you, you say. Nope.
So, is he a Jew? Is he a Catholic?
You have absolutely no evidence with you to back up all your bullshit. I mean, excuse me, your mentor Brian Dindelinger, he'll come out against some other preacher that has the last name of Anderson as well. And you're going to actually try to use that to come to all your conclusions?
He's got the family name Anderson. Anderson is a family name that comes from a family of preachers that are very wicked.
I mean, it's funny, because is Jesus actually the one trying to tell you to connect all these so-called dots? Because it's not going to go well for you here concerning your false allegations and your weird-ass witness.
He was calling him Ender Snake. You see? That's Brian Denlinger.
Yes, that is your friend and mentor, Brian Dindelinger, all right. He sure does look like he's got it all together, doesn't he? And you apparently think he's your best witness since you're putting him out there. But aren't you forgetting something here, Jonathan? Aren't you forgetting to introduce your other star witness? Your other friend and mentor, Brian Dindelinger. You know, the mentally deranged one that you keep pushing on people?
You're playing little games. You're a loser. Do you understand? People drive by and I'm there. Look at me, I'm playing ball. It's a nice property you got back in there. You got a cabin you built? No, but I can sure throw the ball up and down. Watch, I'm working on doing it with one hand.
Don't forget to let everybody get a good look at the kind of witness that you're actually putting out there, Jonathan. Because he's kind of goofy, and he knows nothing about the last name Anderson. You're just putting him out there, I guess because you can. But before you read out the titles of all of Dindelinger's videos, about some preacher that happens to have the last name as this guy does, the one we're talking about here, And because of that fact, and that fact alone, unless you want to count all your barn animal games that you like to play, that is, as being some kind of relevant fact, which it isn't, by the way, at least not in my humble opinion.
There's this guy, he comes around, he grew his beard, but it doesn't make him appear more wise. He still looked like a pig to me.
So just as a heads up for whoever's watching this video, what you might want to do is, when Jonathan starts reading out all these video titles about some other guy with the last name Anderson, ask yourself this question. At what point in Jonathan's presentation did we see him enter anything into evidence? Anything to help prove his point about who Israel Anderson is?
So, is he a Jew? Is he a Catholic?
Because just reading out video titles about somebody, especially about somebody who has absolutely nothing to do with revealing who this guy is, I mean, you've shown us absolutely nothing at all, Jonathan. It's yet another big nothing burger for you. You should be getting sick of eating those, shouldn't you?
Steven Anderson exposed himself as a lost man from Brian Denlinger. Public challenge to Steven Anderson. Also, he was calling him Steven Undersnake.
Whoa! Loser! You're a loser! I beat Call of Duty, the newest one that came out. I beat it in 3 days. Loser! That's all you are. You're a loser.
Lot of videos. Notice Steven Anderson throw a temper tantrum and swears. Brian Denlinger videos showing this.
Well, I had the top score online, and in my online gaming, I'm the top ranked player. Loser! You're pathetic. You're a loser. Your life is a joke. You're worthless.
My answer to Steven Anderson from Brian Denlinger. My brother Steven Anderson responds to Brian Denlinger. Why does the media cover Steven Anderson, Brian Denlinger, Steven Anderson, Repentance, Blacklist, and Mormon? Okay, so it seems to me that it's a re-upload YouTube channel. A plea to Steven Anderson followers. Steven Anderson gets SWAT. Non-dispensational. Steven Anderson caught Easter egg hunting. 10 questions Steven Anderson can't answer. Steven Anderson and James White reprobate Calvinist, Brian Denlinger, the Jesuitical Doctrine of Ovin and Steven Anderson, the bizarre cover-up of Steven Anderson perversion problem, is Anderson Catholic cult falling apart, Brian Denlinger on the Anderson sleeping in separate bedrooms, Steven Anderson endless genealogy, Steven Anderson lies to Jewish rabbis to get interviews, Steven Anderson changing the King James Bible.
Well, I wish somebody would have told me this stuff years ago, but some of you little idolatrous little losers out there are getting all upset. And you know what you're going to do? You're going to try to find fault with me. Kill the messenger. Let's not deal with the scriptures. Let's not deal with the facts.
Kelly Barr, when she was speaking to me on the phone earlier today, we spoke a little bit about Brian Denlinger, and Kelly Barr said to me that there was a certain video she saw from Brian Denlinger, and she got a bad feeling about it. You see, that's Brian Denlinger. He's got the family name Anderson. Anderson is a family name that comes from a family of preachers that are very wicked. So now you know I'm the brightest light in the room.
Aw, that's sweet. So now everybody knows that you're the brightest light in the room. But how exactly were they all convinced of that, I wonder? Because what you're about to see now is just more proof for me that shows how you just make up stories as you go along, Jonathan. And yes, Jonathan, I've said it before, you're quite good at it. But I think this time you tried biting off more than you could chew. That sounds like what happened when Yahweh killed a bunch of his people because they wanted some meat, because they wanted something a little different. So he sent an ungodly amount down to them, but when they started to eat it, Yahweh got mad at them and killed them right there in mid-chew of a mouthful of quail. Quail that he just sent them to eat. But really, what did you have for evidence, Jonathan? I mean, your mentor, Dindalinger, he added absolutely nothing to your cause, at least as far as finding out who Israel Anderson is.
Loser! That's all you are. You're a loser.
And how are you going to try to do that, Jonathan? You were going to somehow read out all the titles of all the hate videos from the same guy who treats people just like crap himself. I mean, you two would make quite a pair, I would think. All that unharnessed testosterone just floating about.
You're playing little games. You're a loser. Do you understand? People drive by and I'm there. Look at me, I'm playing ball. It's a nice property you got back in there. You got a cabin you built? No, but I can sure throw the ball up and down. Watch, I'm working on doing it with one hand.
And I know you said you appeared before the judge up there, right? I mean, you sounded pretty confident when you said it. But would you actually present this evidence before a judge? Because while you're going to be presenting your mentor, Brian Dindalinger, and all his fabulously named video titles, what I'm going to be presenting is actual evidence. You know, Jonathan, proof. Proof that it's going to prove out that you were completely wrong about everything that you were even suggesting about who Israel Anderson is. Because I looked up the family name Anderson and we're going to see what it means. And I think a little bit of fair play was in order here. So what I wanted to do was, run your last name through the AI just to see what we get. And I think you're going to be pretty shocked, Jonathan. Or can I start referring to you as Little Christmas, the good little Catholic boy? Can I start referring to you as that from now on, Jonathan? So what I typed in, I put, what is the meaning of the family name Anderson? Came back with, the family name Anderson is a patronymic surname that literally means son of Andrew or son of Ander. Etymology and meaning. Greek roots. The name Andrew originates from the ancient Greek name Andreas, which is derived from androios, meaning manly, brave, warrior. Therefore, the surname carries the broader underlining meaning of son of a brave man or son of a warrior. Ooh, a Christian connection. Thought you said he was satanic. I don't know. It says Christian connection. The personal name Andrew gained immense popularity across Europe due to Saint Andrew, one of Jesus Christ's original disciples and apostles. Look at that. I really don't see any evilness on there like you were talking about, Jonathan. Do you see any evilness in here anywhere? Scotland and Northern England, Anderson is heavily rooted in Scottish history because St. Andrew is the patron saint of Scotland. The first name was widely used, naturally leading to a high frequency of the surname. In Gaelic traditions, the name developed from Magili Andreas, which means servant of St. Andrew. Clan Anderson is recognized lowland Scottish clan. I mean, I don't see anything in here that's anywhere near talking about Catholic or everything that you were saying that this Israel Anderson was, because he had the name of Anderson. But what I want to do is let's take a look at yours, Jonathan. Nolin. And there's two different ways that it can be spelled. It's Nolan. And that's more of the Scottish one. But the French Canadian offtake is Nolin, like you've always said. So I typed in, what is the meaning of the family name Nolin? Remember, you don't celebrate Christmas, do you? No. The family name Nolin has multiple origins, but it is mostly prominently rooted in French and Irish histories. Depending on your family's specific lineage, the name carries entirely different meanings. And there's the French roots, the Irish roots, Swedish roots, but I know you're the French one, which is the most common, so I'm only going to read that. In France, Nolin is traditionally a pet form of diminutive of a given name. It frequently derived from Noël, meaning Christmas, or from a shortened form of Germanic personal names like Renaud, meaning council power. Historical context. French families bearing the name Nolin historically migrated to North America, particularly establishing deep roots in Quebec during the 17th and 18th centuries. For families with French Canadian roots, the name Nolin is rooted in the early colonization of New France, Quebec, and is overwhelmingly tied to the specific nickname or dit name tradition. The meaning and origin. In French Canadian genealogy, the surname Nolin is a diminutive or pet form of the personal name Noël, meaning Christmas, or a shortened form of ancient Germanic personal names like Renaud. The founding pioneer, Jacques Nolin. Nearly all French Canadians with the surname Nolin can trace their lineage back to a single founding ancestor, Jacques Nolin. The arrival. Born around 1645 in the parish of Saint-Jean-du-Perrot in La Rochelle, France, Jacques, migrated to Quebec as a young man. He is recorded in the 1666 census of Quebec City that served as the cradle for many early French Canadian families. Ooh, 666. Ah, it's got to be something evil associated with that Nolin name. Look at that. There's a 666. Plus, you have Christmas. Plus, I think they're Catholic too. Let's find out.
So, how is it that I'm so confident right now? I feel like I can do anything. I feel like I'm invincible.
Jacques was an armorer, whatever that says, gunsmith and armor maker by trade. The family. On November 18th, 1671, he married Françoise Chalifot at Notre Dame de Quebec. Together they had 14 children, cementing the Nolin name across the region. Ooh, so you had your own cement. You didn't need me back then, did you, Jonathan? You had cement holding y'all together back then. And 14 children. Oh man, you guys didn't have any problem popping them out back then. Well, congratulations. But let's go. Let's see the meaning of dit name. Jacques carried the secondary name, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that stuff, in New France. A dit name, meaning called or said, was added to differentiate families or indicate a place of origin. It translates to of the small castles, or from châtelets, like pointing to a specific neighborhood, landmark, and ancestral estate back in France where his family lived before migrating. Over generations, many descendants dropped dit d'Achietelets or whatever completely, keeping only Nolin. Later, the family expanded over the next century. Several Nolin descendants became prominent fur traders and moved further west into Upper Great Lakes and the Red River settlement. They married into indigenous communities, establishing a high influential French-Canadian Métis lineage. The Nolin sisters, granddaughters of the Quebec Fur Trading Network. They became famous trailblazers in Manitoba by founding the first Catholic. Oh no! Jonathan's a Catholic, celebrates Christmas. Hey, turnabout's fair play. Let's look up the name. We'll just judge people by the way their face looks and their name.
He still looks like a pig to me. Because I can recognize with the nose.
Yeah, let's do it that way. Catholic schoolgirls in Western Canada. Okay. Charles Nolin, a prominent Métis politician and farmer who was a key. So you guys were politicians. Weren't you just saying whenever a politician says, let me be clear, that they're trying to muddy up the waters? Yeah, politician. So you Nolans up there in Canada, you are all politicians, celebrated Christmas. Catholics. I don't know. It doesn't look good for your name. At least Anderson's name. I didn't see any of this in there. And it's all stuff that you're against, too. Huh. A prominent Métis politician and farmer who was a key complex figure during the Northwest Rebellion of 1885 alongside his cousin. Ooh, they had cousins up there, too. Oh. So I asked it, is there any more information on how Christmas is relevant to Nolin? Let's see. What did it say? The relevance of Christmas to the family name Nolin comes entirely from medieval French naming customs and linguistics. Huh, medieval French. Medieval. It does not sound holy. The linguistic shift. The Latin root. The word for Christmas comes from Latin phrase natalis dies, which translates literally to day of birth, specifically referring to the nativity of Jesus Christ. It's too bad that you're Catholic, though. That throws a wrench in it, doesn't it? The Old French evolution. Over centuries, French speakers dropped the hard T. Sounds like the Latin natalis shifting into Old French as Noël, which ultimately became the modern French word for Christmas. Noël. Can I just call you Noël? That's cool. Oh wait, here's the little Christmas one. The diminutive suffix. In medieval France. Yeah, medieval. It was incredibly common to add affectionate suffixes to names by taking the root "nol" from Noël and adding the French diminutive suffix "in," meaning little. Communities created the pet name Nolin, effectively translating to Little Christmas. How you doing, Little Christmas? I thought you were against Christmas, Jonathan. Not according to your family lineage. Why a medieval family was given a Christmas name. Long before Nolin became a permanent, hereditary last name in Quebec, it began as a personal nickname. A family line would usually inherit a name like Nolin for one of three cultural reasons. You got your Christmas-tide birthday. The most common reason a child was named Noel, nicknamed Nolin, was because they were born or baptized during the Christmas season. It was a way to mark the holidays as a permanent part of the child's identity. A symbol for festive joy. Weren't you just talking about promoting more joy on your channel? I remember that. That would fulfill your genealogical tradition. A symbol of festive joy. In medieval agrarian society, Christmas was one of the few times peasant families enjoyed an extended break from hard labor, marked by deep community bonding, storytelling, and feasts. Ooh, storytelling. Maybe that's where you get it from. It's genetic. A child given the nickname Nolin was sometimes thought to embody the spirit of good cheer, joy, and warmth associated with the holiday. Instead, you got the spirit of Elijah and wrath. Something went wrong there. Feudal holiday obligations, which is really nothing. By the time Jacques Nolin boarded a ship from France to Quebec in the mid-1600s, the Little Christmas origin had already solidified into a proud, permanent family surname. I'm not even going to read anymore. You can go look it up for yourself. As far as I'm concerned, word Anderson, it didn't have anything negative to it, whereas according to you and your mentor Brian Dindlinger, he was Satan. But when we look at your name, Jonathan, it's kind of got a lot of baggage hooked to it. A lot of baggage to it. Christmas celebrator. I did a video on that one too. Remember you got all mad? Maybe I'll replay that one. Make a few shorts out of it. But you got all mad, said, no, I don't celebrate that. But apparently you descended from it. Little Christmas. That's your name. Don't wear it out.
So Anderson, Steven Anderson, Israel Anderson, seems to me that they are pretty much from the same family tree. A family of preachers to try to kill the prophets and saying that they are doing service to Jesus as they kill the prophets. I'm all worked up. I'm really all worked up. Every time you put a video, you think I won't be able to overturn, else you wouldn't put it out there. So don't tell me you're not amazed. And if you are, then I bet you that she is also. So Anderson, the same family name, because he's from the same tree, the same family tree, and from the same root that needs to be plucked out. He still looks like a pig to me.